Welcome to WT History. In this series, we list all the major events that happened in the world in a year, starting from 1776 to 2024. On January 9th, Anson Jones, the last president of the Republic of Texas, ended his own life, a tragic close to a man once hailed as a symbol of Texan independence. Then, on March 30th, American innovation took a practical leap forward as Hymen Lipman patented the first pencil with an attached eraser, a small invention that would soon become a classroom essential across the nation. On April 19th, the United States signed a treaty with the Yankton Sioux tribe, marking another moment in the long and often troubled history of America's expansion westward. Just a few weeks later, on May 11th, Minnesota was officially admitted as the 32nd U.S. state, adding new territory to the growing Union. But that same month, on May 19th, the nation witnessed one of the bloodiest episodes of the Bleeding Kansas conflict, the Marais Cygnes massacre, where pro-slavery forces attacked and killed anti-slavery settlers. Then, on June 16th, a rising Illinois lawyer named Abraham Lincoln accepted the Republican Party's nomination for the U.S. Senate. In his now famous House Divided speech, Lincoln warned that the country could not endure permanently half slave and half free, words that would echo through American history. By July, gold fever swept the West as thousands of 59ers rushed into the Rocky Mountains, launching the Pike's Peak Gold Rush. On August 5th, Cyrus Westfield and his team successfully completed the first transatlantic telegraph cable after several failed attempts. On August 16th, President James Buchanan exchanged greetings with Queen Victoria through the cable, but the weak signal lasted only a few weeks before it failed. Just days later, on August 21st, history was made in Illinois as the first of the Lincoln-Douglas debates began, a series of fiery political showdowns that shaped the nation's political discourse on slavery. Then on October 28th, R.H. Macy opened the first Macy's department store in New York City, the beginning of one of America's most enduring retail empires. By November 17th, pioneers founded the city of Denver, Colorado, destined to become the mile-high city of the American West. That same year, William M. Tweed, better known as Boss Tweed, began his infamous 13-year reign over New York's Tammany Hall political machine. And in another milestone for American industry, Squibb Pharmacy, the forerunner of Bristol-Myers Squibb, was founded in New York, setting the stage for one of the world's most influential pharmaceutical companies. On January 14th, Paris was shaken by the Orsini affair, an attempted assassination of Emperor Napoleon III by Felice Orsini and his accomplices. Though the bombs failed to kill Napoleon, they left 8 dead and over 140 wounded, stirring temporary anti-British sentiment in France. Just 11 days later, on January 25th, Felix Mendelssohn's Wedding March became forever linked to matrimony when it was played during the royal wedding of Princess Victoria, daughter of Queen Victoria, to Prince Friedrich of Prussia at St. James's Palace in London. That same month, Prince William of Prussia assumed the regency for his ailing brother, Frederick William IV, who had suffered a stroke. This would mark the start of a political path that would eventually lead William to the German throne. On February 11th, a 14-year-old peasant girl named Bernadette Suberus claimed to have seen a vision of the Virgin Mary in Lourdes, France. These Lourdes apparitions, 18 in total, would later become one of the most famous Marian events in Catholic history. By March 13th, Felice Orsini faced the guillotine for his attempt on Napoleon's life. Between April 28th and May 1st, the Battle of Grahovac saw Montenegrin forces achieve a decisive victory over the Ottoman Empire, a symbolic triumph for Balkan independence. On May 13th, British art critic John Ruskin began a tour of Europe, which he would later describe as a deeply transformative period in his life. Meanwhile, from May to July, peasants in Estonia, part of the Russian Empire, rose in the Matra War to protest the lingering effects of serfdom, even though it had been abolished decades earlier. On June 2nd, astronomer Giovanni Battista Donati discovered Comet Donati, the first comet ever photographed, a brilliant sight that remained visible for months. Just weeks later, on June 23rd, a dramatic event unfolded in the Papal States when police seized a young Jewish boy, Edgardo Mortara, from his family to be raised as a Catholic, sparking international outrage. Then came a scientific milestone. On July 1st, Charles Darwin and Alfred Russel Wallace presented their joint papers to the Linnean Society of London, outlining their groundbreaking theory of evolution by natural selection, one of the most important ideas in human history. On July 17th, the Lutine Bell was salvaged from a shipwreck and hung in Lloyd's of London, where it would ring to mark major insurance news for years to come. That same month, Camillo Benso, Count of Cavour, maneuvered diplomatically to provoke Austria into attacking Sardinia, paving the way for Italian unification. In August, French photographer Nadar made history by taking the first aerial photographs from a moored balloon. On August 2nd, a new bill for London's sewage system was passed after the infamous Great Stink, when summer heat made the smell of sewage in the River Thames unbearable. On August 11th, mountaineers achieved the first ascent of the Eiger, followed by the first climb of Dom, the Alps' third highest peak, on September 11th. By October 21st, the Paris stage was alive with laughter as Jacques Offenbach's operetta Orpheus in the Underworld premiered, introducing the world to the lively can-can dance. On November 12th, Johann II became Prince of Liechtenstein at just 18 years old, beginning what would become one of the longest reigns in European history. That year also saw the Russian Empire adopt a new flag, the rise of the haute couture house Worth and Boberg in Paris, and the creation of the Miners' Association in Cornwall, England. On January 9th, British troops finally crushed the revolt of Rajab Ali Khan in Chittagong. Soon after, on January 21st, Benito Juarez became president of Mexico, the nation's first indigenous leader, while conservatives declared Felix Maria Zuloaga as a rival president, plunging Mexico into political chaos. On February 13th, explorers Richard Francis Burton and John Hanning Speke became the first Europeans to discover Lake Tanganyika deep in Central Africa. On March 21st, British forces retook the city of Lucknow in India, marking a turning point in the Indian Rebellion of 1857. Just weeks later, on April 28th, 52 Indian freedom fighters were executed in the brutal Bawani Imli massacre, hanged from a single tamarind tree. In May, David Livingstone's second Zambesi expedition reached the coast of Africa after 6 years of exploration, while in Japan, a new trading company, Itochu, was founded, one that would later become an international powerhouse. Between June 13th and 17th, the Treaty of Tientsin was signed, ending the first phase of the Second Opium War, but tragedy struck soon after. On June 18th, Rani Lakshmibai, the heroic Queen of Jhansi, was killed in battle at Gwalior, her courage forever immortalized in Indian history. Just one day later, on June 19th, a powerful earthquake devastated Mexico City and Texcoco, destroying much of both cities. The rebellion in India finally ended on June 20th, when the last rebels surrendered in Gwalior. By July 8th, a formal peace treaty was signed, ending the uprising. On July 12th, the Advertiser newspaper began publication in Adelaide, Australia, and remains in print to this day. Just 2 weeks later, on July 28th, British officer William James Herschel used a handprint as a legal signature, marking the first recorded use of fingerprinting for identification. On July 29th, the United States and Japan signed the Treaty of Amity and Commerce, opening trade between the two nations. By August 2nd, the Government of India Act officially transferred control of India from the British East India Company to the British Crown, ushering in nearly 90 years of direct colonial rule. That same month, on August 7th, a football match took place in Melbourne, Australia, between Melbourne Grammar School and Scotch College, one of the earliest organized games in football history. In September, the French Navy, led by Charles Rigaud de Genouilly, attacked Da Nang, Vietnam, beginning the Cochinchina campaign. By December 7th, Mexico was again in turmoil as President Felix Maria Zuloaga issued the Plan of Tacubaya, sparking the Reform War. Manuel Robles Pezuela soon succeeded him as conservative president on December 24th. Finally, on December 30th, the Paraguay expedition departed from Uruguay with 17 U.S. warships, a show of American naval power designed to force concessions from Paraguay. Thanks for watching WT History. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more journeys through the past, 1 year at a time.